What is going on, guys? Welcome to Battlefield 4 Central. Today we got a different video from our usual ones. We have Call of Duty versus Battlefield. Now this is a little sort of mini war that sort of goes on between the two genres, or at least the two games. They're both in the FPS shooter genre and they are both action-packed thrillers. So I want to start off by saying that I don't have any hate towards either one of the games. I play both of them, and I think they're great. They serve a purpose and they definitely entertain me for at least an hour or two a day. But to start off with, Call of Duty is a unrealistic FPS shooter with small levels, small maps, good looking guns, good customization, and it's very arcadey. On the other hand, Battlefield is again unrealistic in some aspects, but graphical wise and sound wise it does sound very authentic. Large maps ranging from large, medium to small, and some customization, and again it's a bit arcadey with the shooting of multiplayer. But there are some aspects that are less arcadey than Call of Duty. So they're two very similar games in the fact that they both serve a purpose as action shooters that are arcadey in some aspect. The difference between them really is just the level of devotion from the developers. So one thing which really pulls or holds back a developer is the publisher. So for Call of Duty, the developer is either Treyarch or Infinity Ward, and their publisher is Activision. And for Battlefield, the developer is DICE and the publisher is EA. Now, the publisher pretty much says to them when they want the game to be released, and so here's your budget, get on with it. That's pretty much what they do. And they also, in return, they market the game, and they definitely get that sold properly. So in the case of Call of Duty, they pretty much say, let's shit out a game this year. At this date, you got this much time to work on it. Here's your budget, get going. And Treyarch or Infinity Ward, they will then have to produce a game by that time frame. Now the problem with Call of Duty is they don't actually have their own engine which they've built. They use multiple engines throughout their games, and they never actually settled down with one, which is why when they come to make a new game, they don't have time to finalize it and to put more content in, or make it something different. They pretty much go, right, build the maps, build the guns, build the menu, done. That's the level of detail they put into it. And it's understandable given the time frame they get given, a year to produce that. It's not a long time, and so they're pretty much forced to release a game which is unfinished and shoddy. And it's because publishers, if you are in charge of, say, EA or Activision, and you had the opportunity to produce a really shit game but get millions and millions of dollars, I think you'd do it. These people aren't going to be playing the games themselves, they're going to be getting that money. So they are money hungry bastards, but it's kind of understandable. In terms of EA would say to DICE, you want to release it by here, here's your budget, get going. Same thing as Activision. And the problem with DICE is, well, now that they've sort of fixed the idea of their engine, because before with Bad Company 2 and before that, they'll sort of stumbling with engines, and now that they've got their own Frostbite engine, the latest one's Frostbite 3. We saw Frostbite 2 in Battlefield 3, and it was really quite nice. So Frostbite 3, lots of people got big hopes for that, but now they've actually got their own engine that they've made and they know how to use, and they can customize it, meaning that they can create a game with a lot more detail very quickly. So it's not really going to be a problem for DICE to create a fairly detailed game with new features, but what is going to be a problem is for them to create lots of content, and lots of good quality content. So they're going to be releasing Battlefield 4 in October 29th, and they've got that sort of time to create loads of maps, weapons, attachments, net coding, menu systems, battle log, all that kind of stuff. And some people think that creating that kind of content is easy. You go into the map, put some trees in, all that kind of stuff, but it really isn't. I'm currently trying to create a map in the Unreal Engine, using a height map, color map, and putting in foliage and stuff, and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, it's really hard. It works, but to get it looking good, it takes serious amounts of skill. And when you look at maps like Firestorm and Kyle Island, they are good-looking maps, and they're good-looking because people spend months on them, multiple months on creating these maps. So if you want to have, say 20 maps, that's going to take you a long time to build at good quality. So that's why in game excuse me, so that's why in particular Battlefield, some maps are good, some maps are bad. It's because they don't have a lot of time to create good looking maps. In terms of Call of Duty and map design, a lot of their maps are sort of small and simple, so it doesn't take that much time. The only thing that they've really got to sort of do is create the meshes and the static meshes. So let's take Modern Warfare 2, the map High Rise, for example. Now I know a lot of people know what that map looks like, and it's pretty much a big skyscraper with some little buildings, and it's, in graphical wise, it's not intense at all. What they've pretty much done is they've built these static meshes, but shoved them into a map, organised them, arranged them, maybe added some little tiny things. It probably took them about a month, if that, to make. And so that's why Call of Duty can pump out a lot of maps, in particular in DLC, very quickly. And it's because their level of detail isn't as high as Battlefield's. In terms of their weapons, I have to say Call of Duty meshes of weapons are impressive. They have a lot of detail, and they certainly look good. In comparison to some Battlefield weapons, I think they do, destroy Battlefield at gun meshes. However, in terms of sounds and sound design, they don't really give a shit. I mean, Black Ops 1, it kind of felt or sounded like they just hit a tin can, recorded that, and sort of, thought that was acceptable as a tin can sound for gunshots. Compared to Battlefield, where you really do hear that 3D sound, that 3D thud and crack, and the bass around it. So I guess when you come back to the actual title of the video, Call of Duty versus Battlefield, you could really say that the only real war behind it, or difference, is the level of detail and the graphical change. So if you're, in terms of gameplay, if you like an arcade shooter, these are the two games you're going to want to look into. And if you like good looking, with lots of detail shooting, then Battlefield is probably going to be your best bet. On the other hand, if you like more sort of arcadey, you're not too bothered about graphics, and you want to sort of play the game with a quick, sort of stress-free, well, not stress, but less weighted kind of game, very lightly taken, because Battlefield obviously has all the jets and the choppers, whereas Call of Duty is just infantry. So if you want more of a lighter arcadey, you're not too interested in graphics, Call of Duty is your best bet. So both games, great at some things, bad at other things. It's mainly down to the publisher's fault, and you'd probably think, why don't developers just publish it themselves? Well, it takes a lot of money, and a lot of that money goes towards the publisher. So hopefully you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, give it a like. Be sure to subscribe for some more content, In our next video, we'll be doing some more Battlefield 3 gameplay and some more tips and tricks with that.